All right, so if you got this far, and if you didn't get this far, what you need to go back and do is watch the other video, because if yours doesn't look like this, you're gonna have some problems. First thing I'm gonna do is drag out a cylinder. Now I'm gonna click on the canopy and I'm going to look to see 26 by 9.5. Okay, so I'm going to change my parameters to 26 and then the dyslexia is 26 long and 9.5 wide. So I'm going to hit the home. I tell you what, I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click fit view and we're going to rotate around. Now, when you press the arrow keys, it's going to allow you to move this around. When you press the shift key, it moves it by bigger measures. Now, if you press the control key, it's going to allow you to move it up and down. Okay? So I want to rotate around, and using my arrow key, and I want to look at the top. So we'll line it up pretty good. Okay, that's what I'm looking for right there. So I'm going to press the control key. I'm going to raise that up. Now, we're clicking on the canopy, and right here it says hide. I'm going to hide that. Now, I click back on the hole. Now, I'm going to hold down the control key and use the down arrow. It's going to take some practice. Now, to select two objects, I hold down the shift key and I select it, and I just click on those objects. I just left click. Now, when I group them, what's going to happen is it makes a hole. So I'm going to take a box, and I know that's 9.5 wide, so we're going to go something like 9. So we'll go 9 by 9 by 9. Now I'm going to make a copy of that. Okay. And I'm going to hold down my control key, move that up, and I'm going to change the color of it just for good measure so I can see. Okay. I'm going to try 7 by 7. Now, let's try the align key. Okay. So I have him pre-centered up. Just going to pull it out a little bit. Now, if I delete the green part out of the red part, I'm going to make my back's going to look really thick. So I'm going to change that number to 8. Okay. So that kind of looks like a C. And what I want to do is I want to change that from green to a hole. Now, I'm just going to drag that. I selected everything. Okay. And I'm going to group it. So I'm going to come back here to the side. I'm going to hold down the control key using the up arrow. Now, I'm just using the sideways arrow. I'm going to see how I'm doing. Okay. I'm already too big. So we're going to change our parameters a little bit. Let's do 6 and 6. And let's move that back in there. And let's rotate around and look. Okay. Now I can see that it's too tall. Let's change this one to 6. Actually, let's change it to 5. So, because what we want to do is we want to make 2 copies. Now, I can have my jet with only 1 seat. And if you mess something up, you just have to hit the Control and Z and it'll undo it. Control Z. Okay. So look at the top here. Rotate that on over. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate that. Now, I'm just going to move my copy forward. So, I've got my plane. I've got 2 seats. Now I need somebody to sit in those seats. If I go look under characters, let's see. I mean, we could make a chicken to go in there, but let's just try the Astrobot. Okay, and Astrobot is way too big. But if I press the shift key in the corner and I scale him down, and let's change him to gray, because you know all spacemen's are gray, right? Still need to hold the shift key and scale him down some more. Using the arrow keys to move him forward. And I'm going to click on Fit View to zoom in. We're going to scale him down a little more. Now, I can rotate him around, or I can just mirror and click on the arrows. Now he's turned around. So, I want to check my fit on him. Pressing the control key. going up. Using my arrows to move him into place. Let's see how he looks in there. Well, he looks okay, but his arm does not. Scale him down a little more. Oh, kind of freezing up here. And you see I didn't press the shift key down when I scaled him. Now, when I press the shift key, he's going to scale like that. So, let's put Astrobot in there. Let's lean forward just a little bit and let's raise him. Whoop. Let's press the, I think it's Control key. Press the Control key and put him in there. And it's not the greatest fit, but I think it'll work. So, let's make a copy of him and let's give him a co-pilot. Okay. Now, we got Astrobot and a co-pilot. Now I'm going to show all. Okay. So those guys, they fit in there. And, you know, if I wanted to play around with it and make my seat a little wider, like maybe 9, or maybe 8, or maybe 7.57. Okay, I could do that, but I'm just going to leave it at 6. And it's not a concept that we're trying to sell to Ford. We're just trying to learn some tools here. Okay, so we're going to show all. And we're pretty good there. So, we don't have an engine. And everybody knows you need some fire. So we're going to make some fire. We're going back to basic shapes. I'm going to turn on my work plane. Now, I'm going to drag my cone onto there. Okay. So I know the parameters for my cylinder 15 by 15. Now, I'm going to turn off my work plane. Having a little trouble. Turn off my work plane. And I'm going to hold down my shift key and I'm going to select those two objects because I want to align them. Again, I've got 3 places. I've got, you know, a lot of places I can align. So now it's aligned and these two are pretty much together. So see how I did that? Now watch. Let me turn on my work plane. Drag in my cone. Now, I'm going to change my top radius to, let's see what 5 looks like. Okay. Let's see what, we know that the other radius is 15. Let's see what 7 looks like. That's way too much. Of course, I typed 70. Let's see what 7 looks like. That's really close to 15. Let's go back to 5. Let's try 6. So what I'm doing is I'm kind of looking at how wide that is. And I'm pretty happy with that. So I'm going to do the exact same thing I did before. And I'm going to turn off my work plane. Now, select the body, hold shift, then let's select the tail piece, and I'm going to align them. Align, and align. Let's change our, let's look at this thing. Okay, let's change our height to 15. Okay. Now, because we added that with the work plane, it's keeping it where we originally placed it. So I'm not real happy with this one. Let's try this. Let's try 7.5. Alright, so when you get to this point, you want to look at all your, oh my goodness. You can see where my alignment got messed up here. And that's fine. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Let me zoom in. Okay. Alright. So I'm going to hold my shift key down. I'm just going to move these guys over. Okay. All I'm doing right here, using my arrow keys to move it around. Alright, so we're looking pretty good, except that tail piece. Okay. Okay, I'm coming right here. Okay, I'm going to turn on the work plane on the back of this nose. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to all shapes. And I think I'm going over to like page 16. Maybe 17. Rock Mountain. Okay. Rock Mountain's way too big, but I drug it on the plane. So I'm going to click on Fit View. So I'm going to press my Shift key, and I'm going to scale Rock Mountain. Okay. I'm turning off my work plane. Okay. What I'm going to do is I'm using my arrows to remove Rock Mountain into place. Okay. Move Rock Mountain down. Okay. First off, I want to make Rock Mountain longer. Okay. So what I'm kind of eyeballing here is grabbing this corner, pushing shift, and scaling him down. Because what I want to happen is I want to be able to put him right, or put her right here. Okay. And I don't think Rock Mountain's still tall enough. So you may be asking yourself, why did you do Rock Mountain last? Because there are a lot of point clouds in Rock Mountain. And now I'm going to change. I am going to make a duplicate of Rock Mountain. And I'll move it out of the way. Okay. So one of these I'm going to make red. And then one of these I'm going to make orange. Now, this one I don't want to be as tall. Okay. Probably still too tall. And so let's see if this works. Just using my arrow keys to move it. Let's see what all I'll grab there. Just use my arrow key to move it all over. Now, I could spend about 30 minutes aligning this, but I'm not going to for this purpose because I just don't think you want to sit here this long and watch me play around. So, as you scale those, you're going to be able to make that look a little bit more tricked out. You can see I messed up the alignment on my nose again. So if I fit view, hold down the shift key, I can just align those guys again. Yeah, we're pretty good there. Nope. Yeah, there you go. Now, let's kind of look at what we've got here. So we've got your brand and we've got your ship. Okay. Your ship has 2 seats. It has 2 characters in there. And now you have fire coming out of the jet. So here's the moral of this story. You're going to have to watch more than one time to be able to do this. But the advantage of that is if you are like Mr. Osborne and you have, a couple different learning disabilities you're working with, this is both visual, auditory, and tactile. So it hits all 3 learning styles. But I kind of got you going with the plane before I turned you loose, and I'm gonna get the I'll get the hull made and help you get the canopy straightened out in class, and then the rest of it is going to be pretty much on you to take care of that. Once you get the people and the canopy and all that stuff in there, it's probably better to group your plane and then use the alignment tool when you start putting the cone on the back for the engine. Just sitting here looking at it, my cone on my engine cone is probably small, but when I made this, I'll just pull up the picture of it. I think it's a 104. That's the email list, and I don't want that. So there's 2 different pictures. So I kind of thought about this 104 Starfighter, and we'll do a couple of different iterations here, and we'll put the fuel tanks on the end, and we'll move the tail around, and we'll make these inlets for the jet. But this was a crazy plane. This was like the F-104 is like the first supersonic fighter jet, and it went so fast that it would go into battle and um, fire on the opposition, and then have to go, you know, 30 miles past to turn around. Was not the greatest plane that we ever made, but man, was it fast. All right, so you should be able to handle this. If you need some help, just let me know. I'm here.